There's a better tomorrow. Kunasikika, miri kunasikika jiwe, chimbotere na moyo.
Good to see you back. Would you like a drink? Would you fancy a mimosa? Ooh, and a cheese platter, okay? I knew you'd be thirsty. I knew you'd be hungry for more. I'm so lame. That is such a lame joke. Guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is a Sunday, which means tea time. First of all, let me say thank you so much, guys, for everyone who watched, liked, shared, and commented on my video. So I hope you've got your drinks ready. Mine is ready. I've got my mimosa right here. Guys, the story is about to take a left turn. So I left you guys off when we had just had the fight where I tore his shirt. As soon as I left his house that day, after the fight, I went home. I took money out of our joint account, booked myself flights to Sydney, booked myself into an expensive, fairly expensive hotel in Sydney. I think I booked it for 4 or 5 days. I can't remember. The day that I came back to a bunch of flowers ready for me at the airport. Mind you, I had not even told this person when I was arriving at the airport. They just went into my email and checked. It was about 3 days later. He calls me. He's like, listen, we really need to talk. I need to meet up with you. So many things are going on. We have to talk. Like, no, I'm so done. Like, there's nothing else to talk about. Like, I'm good, sir. The only time you and I will talk is when we're now going to the courts to start up the divorce process. Like, and he says, listen, I'm getting sent out of the country. So I'm thinking, what? What do you mean? So I'm like, why are you getting kicked out? Like, how do you just get kicked out with no process? Like, everything in Australia is done through a process. So something must have happened for you to get to a point where you're getting kicked out, and you must have gotten at least 1 or 2 warnings prior to getting kicked out. Me, well, the thing is, I've actually been failing in school. I haven't been showing up, you know, and they just told me that I need to go and then I can apply for my place again. So at this point he's lying, because I know for a fact if you get kicked out of school, they are not straight away going to say to you, you can just apply in like 2 days or 3 days. He says to me, listen, I really need you to come with me to this appointment. If you don't mind, please, I just need you there. At this point, my self-sacrificing has kicked in, and I just thought, oh, okay, fine, you know what, this is such a terrible thing to happen to anyone, so fine, sure, I'm gonna come with you. I go to this meeting, and I just thought I was accompanying the person to go to this meeting. I go to this meeting, and halfway through the meeting, the conversation shifts from, okay, well, you're just gonna have to go back home and then you can apply in this many months or in this however many years, to, well, how about your wife gives you a visa? So immediately I'm thinking, okay, this person doesn't know us, so you must have put that information to them. That way they would ask me and basically put me on the spot. And mind you, this wasn't a meeting just with us two and this third person who was giving him advice on what to do next. This meeting included some of his family members. So I am sitting there fuming, because I'm thinking, how dare you put me on the spot? All of a sudden, everyone's eyes turn on me and everyone's looking at me to give them an answer. At this point, I just looked at him, gave him that look that just said, I'm not doing it. Straight after the meeting, he's driving me home. So as he's driving me home, we're going back and forth, we're arguing. I tell him, listen, like, I told you already, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not what I want. Like, I no longer want to be in a relationship with you. So obviously I can apply for a spouse visa for you when we're no longer spouses. It should literally just be common sense. It's literally 1 + 1. It's not that difficult to understand. Now realizing clearly you do not love me for the right reasons. You're with me for other reasons. So we get to the house where I used to get dropped off, right? So he slows down, and as we're both talking, I go to open the door. Oh my God. the memory of this just makes me cringe so hard. So I opened the door and I had one leg out. So as I had one leg out, turned to him speaking, and before I know it, he just speeds off. So he literally just speeds off with my one leg out. I can't even do justice to that scenario by explaining it. I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? My leg is out. Like, I'm trying to get my leg in. I'm trying to close the door. Like, I'm trying to hold on to my bags and etc. And he just speeds off. And obviously, because this is a residential area, it's literally 50 kilometers per hour. It's probably doing 90 in a 50 kilometer zone. But because of the way the roads are, and there's so many roundabouts, you can really feel it when somebody is driving that fast. So at this point, I am so angry. Like, I am like crying, and I'm asking him, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you trying to kill me? Are you trying to kill us? Like, what on earth are you doing? So he keeps on driving. We get to a bigger roundabout, which was about 3 minutes away from my house, and then he turns back. Now he's driving normally, so he turns back, we come back, he parks just outside my house, and now he's apologizing. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to make you cry. And then next thing I know, Budi starts crying, and I'm like, you're the one who was driving, why are you crying? Like, I'm sorry, what are the tears for? I got hit with the line that I'm sure all you females have had from a man who's cheated on you. He tells me, Arumbi, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. Listen, sis was only 24 at that time. She had never been through anything like this. So I thought he was telling the truth, and I freaked out. And I thought, well, you can go nowhere then. So after he finished crying, he finished lamenting, and he was talking about how much he's a disappointment. And of course, he hits me with this life history and childhood trauma. He tells me, you know, when I grew up, I never felt loved and etc. You know, I've never been with somebody that showed me love like you have. No one's ever given me a chance. And I should have... So we're listening, and then at the end of it all, I say to him, listen, I never wanted to, you know, get a divorce. That was never my intention. Never wanted that out of life. So, you know, we can work it out. I'm gonna take my time. I'm not gonna give you a visa. You're gonna go back home. You're gonna go back to Zimbabwe. You're gonna apply. You're gonna sort yourself out. And if you really mean it, then it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get back here. That's your way of proving that this is real to me. So he says to me, it's okay, it's fine, Grimby, you know what, we'll just do long distance relationship. I'll just go back home. I'm just so happy. Like, I'm not joking. Nigga was really crying. You know, he was really crying. And then on the Wednesday, he was out. He left. A mistake. What a mistake. I had been in Zim for a week when I got added into a group. Family group. I think it was a family group. Yeah, it was. Well, I got sent a message, I can't remember. As soon as I answer, a message pops up. It's basically saying Men's was in debt. He had credit cards that I had no clue about. By the end of that conversation, I had been given a list of things that, as the wife, I was required to pay for, including my own ring. Guys, because it's just me, it's just who I am, who I used to be, I hope. I just took it on and I was like, God, what am I supposed to do in this situation? I got myself a second job that same week, and I started working 2 jobs, paying for this man's bills. You would hope that by giving somebody a chance like that, that they would then get it through this thick skull and just think, okay, listen, this girl is clearly trying by all her means, so I'm gonna be nice to them. No, that's not how it works with somebody like that. It's just not how it works. So things carry on, and now I started to see this other side of him, which is the controlling, the nasty behavior, always wanting to argue, always feeling like they need to put me down. I go on this girl's trip to Kalbarri, and then so I'm texting him and saying, hey, I'm sorry for missing your calls and for missing your texts. I was driving to Kalbarri. He's like, what's in Kalbarri? So I tell him, okay, well, this is what's in Kalbarri. Remember, we're going with the girls. Tell me why this man decides to send me a picture of who's in the car. Guys, I'm thinking, wakakwana. So we get to Kalbarri, you know, we get a picture taken, just myself and the two girls that I was with. So where we parked our car, there were people around us, so they take this picture of us, right? So I posted, because at this time I was like, you know what, I'm not going to talk to him if this is how he's deciding to act. I'm just going to keep quiet. So at this point, I post the picture on Snapchat. Next thing I know, my phone is ringing. Who took the picture? Because for the 2 weeks that he had been home, this was not the first time it had happened. It had happened so many times. You know, why didn't you pick up my calls? Who are you with? Where are you? And it's like, I got 2 jobs now because of your problems. Like, the least that you can do is to be nice to me and be kind every time I talk to you. Like, I forgot. Guys, I forgot. So while we're in Kalbarri, I get a message from like a Zim number, and I'm thinking, who's this? It was a family member, and I got told off, guys. I was told, Pano, we do not act like that. When you're going anywhere, you need to ask for your husband's permission. Your husband needs to approve of who you go with. Mina, okay, so now I'm telling this person, this family member, I'm like, no, like, I think you're being told one side of the story, but this is what's been going on. This is why I'm upset. There's been different occasions where this has happened, and this is why I'm going, why are you being controlling? So a few months down the line, I think this was now in October, we had our Rora. Rora happened, everything goes out well. Okay, cool. As we're speaking, it gets brought up that there was the expectation that from November to December, I was meant to go to their home and stay there for 2 months. It's October. I live in Australia. I don't live in South Africa or Zambia, where I can just get into my car and be like, go. It's 2 months of work. So now on top of me paying the bills that I'm paying, my own and yours, I now have to worry about being obliged to come to Zim for 2 months to do what? To sit? As if I have the time, as if I have the luxury, as if I have the money to go to Zim and sit for 2 weeks, for 2 months. So I'm like, listen, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm like, I don't have the money. You should be thinking about the fact that there's no money to be able to do that. So I guess my comment came off as though I was being a controlling wife, or a wife who has no respect, or who now treats her husband as if he's financially incapable. I don't know. Next thing I know, I am being told off, right? So now we're going off at each other, and I'm telling you know, I'm so sick and tired of you. You know, SIHT. As I'm saying all these things, I did not realize that Men's had put me on loudspeaker, so a certain family member could hear me. I get a message, straight after I get a message from that number again, and I'm getting told what a disappointment it was to listen to me speak the way that I speak to my husband. Now listen, guaranteed, I don't have the most perfect or the most perfect choice of words when I'm expressing my anger. My vocabulary is quite colorful when I'm expressing my anger. As far as using words like, what the F is your problem? I feel like that is just, to me, that's just how I speak when, so all those words were heard. And, I was told, you need to know your place. You clearly do not know your place. I don't know, that Australian stuff works in Australia, but it does not work here. At this point, I'm just like, sissy, Atashi Peter after the Rora. A friend of mine was down here and, we're having fun, etc. And then she then asked me and said, hey, listen, there's been news that has been brought to my attention, and I've been holding on to this because I thought maybe you already knew it, but you did not want to talk to me about it, or you were not ready. However, it seems to me that you do not know this news, because it seems to me that you're still with that person. So I go, oh Lord, here we go again. What is it now? So my friend says to me, I don't know if you've heard about this, but that person, your man's side chick, is pregnant. And from what I've heard, she is saying that it's his. Guys, when I tell you all my power left me, Simba. At that point, I was so hurt that when I heard that, I couldn't even cry. And I say to him, hi, so at what point were you going to tell me that so-and-so is pregnant by you? And he tells me, first of all, I don't even know if that's my child. She told me, but I don't believe her. So I'm like, okay. So you knew about this. You knew, like, this information was given to you, and you did not, in your heart, you did not think, oh, let me quickly tell Rumbi. That way, this does not have to become another embarrassing moment for her. That way, this does not have to become another moment that I've lied to her about. So I'm like, okay. So as I'm talking to him, I was heading up the phone. I drive to where they used to live as a family. I get there and, every family member was there. And I narrate to them what I've just been told, the news that I've just been given. And I say to them, listen, so because of this, I'm just here to let you guys know that I'm officially done. Like, this is me officiating and respecting the relationship between our both families, and also me respecting tradition. I'm done. So I call my auntie and I tell my auntie, Tete, this is what has happened. So, now my tete is crying, my tete is praying. It's like, nay, Twitter say, what do we do? It's like, maybe she's lying. So as this whole thing is happening, right? I get a call from an elder from our church, and he says to me, hi daughter, how are you? Like, I'm good, thank you. How are you? It's like, this is uncomfortable to come to you with this information, daughter, but the elder goes on to narrate to me how said person called him and she was going off. And she was saying, you need to tell your daughter to stop talking about me. Certain things were said about how I was jealous that she was now getting married and was now having a baby. So now I wanted to ruin the situation for her and go around spreading lies that her baby was my ex's. So I'm like, Elder, I just found out today. So I send him messages to show that I just found out, right? So he says to me, okay, this girl, she started again. We don't know now what to think, because she wasn't the only person that she's called. She's actually called two other elders, and she said she had found their number on their website, on the church website. So in this conversation, another person's name comes up, and I say to him, listen, I'm gonna call that person and verify and get my name out of this situation. So I called up this person who was in Melbourne, went to the same church as I was, apparently where all this information had started from and being passed on around. So I called this person. I'm like, Mama Makadi, my name is so and so. I am the girl who's married to this guy who so and so is saying she has a child with. And I was like, my thing now is, my name, I just need you to clarify to this person, to Elder so and so, that I am not the one passing this information. Like, I did not even know. I literally just found out. This woman goes, oh, I'm so sorry. No, this person came into my salon, and while she was in my salon, this is the conversation that we had. And then I just thought everyone knew about it. So, I passed it on. I was in so much pain that I could not even think about saying anything to her. This person had the audacity to find one of my parents and send a message to them saying, tell your daughter, your useless daughter, that she needs to leave me alone. Why is she jealous? I warned her about this person so many times. My mom is asking me, like, what are you gonna do? The next thing I know, my sister's going, oh my God, what's wrong with this person? Like, they just sent me a message. So now they took the same message, sent it to my sister. So actually they sent me a message basically saying, hi, why did you call my brother, claiming that I'm pregnant by your husband? So now I called your brother too? Come back and I say, listen, don't come here with that foolery, because you would not find my number. Like, I don't even have your brother's number anymore. Like, you would not find my number on your brother's caller log. First of all, you spoke to this person. Now I tell them, listen, you spoke to this person, you said this. And I didn't sleep. I called this guy, and once again, we're going back and forth. And I remember him telling me, you need to know your position and play your position. And once again, I got told, why are you bugged? Why are you bothered by the fact that there's a child? Don't you know your place? Where was Rhoda paid? You're meant to be getting married, and you need to start concentrating on the bigger issues. I remember feeling so small. I decided to take myself out to lunch. So I took myself out to lunch at Crown, and then I went and sat by the shore. I remember out loudly just saying to myself, Rumbi, what's wrong with you? And I just remember taking out my book, because I always walk around with a book because I love writing. So I always walk around with a book to write things down. And I remember writing in this book a letter to myself. And because I'd been raped, to me, I thought I had no value. I thought I wasn't worth it. And I thought I was never going to be in a relationship where a man could value me, or a man could truly love me, because I was lacking something. So the early years of my dating were spent trying to make sure that I wasn't the kind that needed love. And I think when I met this person, I was so tired of not being loved that I just wanted to be loved. And I no longer cared how it came. I just wanted it so bad. The following months were hell. Just the verbal abuse. There were so many moments that even I would be at work getting 20 plus calls from this person telling me, oh, you pick up on video call. And I'd be like, dude, I'm at work. I can't video call. You need to stop letting my, like, I shouldn't even have my phone on me. And now it's ringing every single second because of you. And they'll tell me, well, I need to see if you're really at work. At one point, this person told me, oh, you always told me how, you know, you're the one who's been faithful, da, 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 da. How do I know you right now when you're on the phone, you're not on top of someone? The fact that I put up with all of that, like, how? Why? No one is worth that. No one is worth you going through so much traumatic things. No one is worth you receiving that emotional and verbal abuse. No one is worth that. You know, no one is worth that. And I know that now. I finally made up my mind and I was like, okay, I'm going to take off the ring. So I took off the ring. I went home. I set my parents down. And then I spoke to them and I explained to them, listen, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. This is it. I'm 28th. It's my mother's birthday. I woke up to my mom, like, sort of aggressively getting into my room. So I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, you know? So I'm thinking she's just playing because my mom's playful like that. But then I look at her face. I look at my mom's face and she looked broken. So immediately I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? And then my mom says, how could you do this to me? And how could you let me find out this way? So I'm like, gosh, she's like, when were you gonna tell me that you and him got married behind our back? So at this point, I'm like, Mommy, like, what do you mean? And then she shows me a message. And so my mom, you know, shows me this message that this stupid boy had decided to be saying, oh, you need to talk to Rumbi. We can't break up because we got married in the courts. Just so you guys know. For them to take a message like that without even warning me, that just showed me everything that I needed to know. It's the end of that particular relationship. See, at some point it stops being about them hurting us and becomes about us hurting ourselves. And the hurt that people put towards us, that's easy to move on from because it's another person doing that to you. But then the hurt that we direct towards ourselves, that's it's super, super hard to move on from because it is you hurting yourself. It is you showing anger and hatred towards yourself. And that's so much harder to forgive yourself. It took me so long to get to a place where I could trust myself again because I had lost that faith in myself. I think this was in December, right? We went out, a few friends of mine, we went out to a Jab Praiser show and we were all drinking and etc. So we get back home and at that time I just found out that someone who I considered as my best friend had known about this pregnancy thing and did not tell me. And also at that time I was realizing that they were talking about my situation to different people and I was not happy with that. So we go out, we go back to this girl's house. As I'm sleeping, this friend wakes me up like, what's going on, right? I didn't realize at that time that I was in a full-blown panic attack in my sleep, right? While crying as well. So they wake me up and all of a sudden I feel like I'm choking, right? And I start trying to take off clothes. Like I'm trying to take anything off. So I take off the underwear and the bra that I had on. I take everything off. The thing is, I had been experiencing these panic attacks for a whole month. Basically after the whole pregnancy thing came out, pretty much almost every single night I would have a panic attack. And every time I would have a panic attack in my room, I would literally take a pillow and close myself. So I would take a pillow and basically do that just to muffle my sound. I didn't want instead of me asking for help, I just felt like I didn't want my parents to see me like that. I just felt like I didn't want my siblings to see me like myself. So on this night when it happened, at this point I find my way off the bed and I'm literally like in a little corner, because you know when people have panic attacks, and I didn't know that that's what they were at that time, but you know when people have panic attacks, like they normally retreat into protection mode. So I retreat into protection mode in a little corner and I'm literally like gasping for air. I can't breathe, and this panic attack was horrible. My friend is trying to understand what's going on with you, what can we do, and she couldn't understand anything. So she ended up actually calling the ambulance to come. So it was such a difficult night, and we literally ended up I was with the paramedics up until like 7 a.m. and I remember after that night I just realized you can never go back. Look at how, you know, painful the situation is to you. Look at how much the situation is actually making you be physically ill. I'm gonna stop here because I just feel like I'm getting really emotional. Just getting a little bit harder to talk about this, just because I think this is the part that I struggle with so because it's so personal to me, and it's more of a like me coming to the realization of my brokenness more than anything else. And I think that's still something that I'm very tender about. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope this video was of value.